Billionaire's shocking act revealed, Waitress receives amazing Rolls-Royce keys from his father. Jessica was pouring coffee into a chipped mug when the headline hit the town like a bolt of lightning. The local diner, a haven of comfort and familiarity, was buzzing with news. "Did you hear?" an older lady exclaimed, perched on her stool. "That waitress, Jessica, she got a Rolls-Royce." As whispers traveled, Jessica felt the weight in her chest tighten. What had started as a typical Friday night, filled with laughter and the sizzle of bacon on the grill, was about to shift. For Jessica, every shift at Ed's diner was more than just a job. It was a promise to her younger brother, Tommy, who still struggled to understand why their parents weren't coming home. Her hands worked tirelessly, each plate served carrying a subtle message of love and survival. She was known for her kind smile, her hard work radiating warmth that made everyone feel like family. It wasn't glamorous, but it was home, a grounded life of slinging hash browns and serving pie. Then Ryan walked in. The heir of a billionaire empire, his entrance felt heavy, charged with unspoken words. When their eyes met across the room, an electric spark ignited between their vastly different worlds. Ryan had stormed away from a fight with his family that left him shattered. He sat alone, nursing a cup of coffee as he stared out the window, trapped inside his thoughts. Jessica approached, silently delivering warmth and a welcome distraction. As the weeks passed, their friendship blossomed, an unspoken bond growing amidst the chatter and clatter of plates. Jessica learned of the weight Ryan carried, the family legacy of privilege tainted by scandal and scrutiny. He marveled at her resilience, the way she handled everything with grace while he felt like a marionette, strings pulled by expectations. Yet, Jessica's determination to uplift Tommy and their community wrapped around Ryan like a comforting blanket, pushing back against the judgmental whispers that lingered in Maplewood. One evening, while sharing a slice of pie, Jessica spoke passionately about a fundraiser to help families in need, her way of turning coal into diamonds, of reminding people that kindness mattered. Ryan listened, captivated, imagining her vision sparking hope within the town. But just as things began to look up, Ryan's father, who had been watching from the sidelines, made a move that caused everyone to hold their breath. In an elaborate stunt masked as charity, the billionaire grandly presented Jessica with the keys to a luxurious Rolls-Royce parked outside the diner. The world seemed to freeze. Gasps filled the air. This wasn't just a gesture, it was a mockery of everything Jessica stood for. The diner buzzed with a mix of admiration and envy. Could wealth replace authenticity? Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. As Jessica stood frozen, Ryan's conflicted gaze mirrored her own confusion. The townsfolk watched, judgment simmering in the air. A Rolls-Royce could elevate her from hardship, yet accepting it might extinguish the beacon she had become. The choices whispered in her mind: would she accept this show of wealth that could turn her into an object of envy? Or would she stand firm, rooted in the community that had become her lifeblood? With Tommy's innocent eyes on her, the tension thickened. What would she decide? The answer, unspoken, lingered heavily, promising to change everything for both her and the boy who relied on her strength. Jessica's heart raced as she stood frozen, keys glinting in the harsh diner light. She felt an avalanche of eyes on her, each bearing down with expectation, a mix of awe and disbelief. The laughter that had once filled the room felt worlds away, now replaced by a heavy silence. "What's it gonna be, Jess?" Ed, the owner, whispered softly from behind the counter. He had always believed in her, championed her dreams of helping others, and in that moment, she could sense his concern. "It's just a car," she muttered, her voice barely escaping her lips. But deep down, she knew it was about so much more than that. Accepting the car would mean accepting a part of Ryan's world, a world that felt stranger with every passing day. Ryan, standing on the edge of the diner crowd, stepped forward, his brow furrowed. "Jessica, wait," he began, but she turned away. The hurt in her chest bubbled up, and the last thing she wanted was to hurt him, to reject the man who had become an unexpected ally, a friend. Taking a deep breath, she glanced down at the keys, then looked back at the diner's patrons. "What does this say about me?" she asked the crowd, her voice trembling. "Is this really what you think I want?" The gravity of her question hung in the air, creating a charged silence, a moment of collective reflection among the townsfolk. A voice from the back broke the silence. "You're better than this, Jess." It was Linda, a longtime customer who had watched Jessica grow up, who had seen the struggle and perseverance. A murmur of agreement rippled through the diner. For every person who envied her now, there were others who admired her strength. The realization came crashing down: she wasn't just fighting for herself. She was fighting for Tommy, for those families who needed hope, for every single soul in Maplewood that looked to her as a beacon. "I'm sorry, Mr. Smith," Jessica finally said, her heart pounding. "I can't accept this. I can't just stand up here and let it look like I would trade my values for a shiny car." Gasps filled the diner, whispers fluttering from table to table, but Jessica's gaze was fixed on Ryan. He looked stunned, caught between disappointment and awe. "Jessica," he said, stepping closer, his voice a mix of respect and uncertainty. "You don't have to see it that way. My father's intentions, your father's intentions don't matter right now." She interrupted, the passion bubbling over. "What matters is what kind of person I want to be." His expression softened, and for a moment, the weight of their worlds felt a little lighter, a shared understanding between them. The diner erupted into a chorus of applause, a community rallying behind the waitress who had always put others first. Jessica felt tears prick the corners of her eyes, overwhelmed by their support. But then, from the back of the diner, a voice shouted, "Then why not turn this around?" Jessica turned, startled. Ed stepped up. "You've always wanted to help people. What if you use this moment, this attention, to inspire others?" As if a light had been flipped on inside her, clarity washed over Jessica. She could turn this into something beautiful, a way to spark change and help those in need. "Yes. Let us organize that fundraiser," she exclaimed, adrenaline surging through her. "This could be our chance." Amidst the cheering and laughter, Jessica grasped Ryan's hand, knowing that together, they could challenge the expectations laid before them. What she didn't expect was to see Ryan's father stepping through the diner door, fury etched across his face. The air turned electric, anticipation crackling. In that moment, Jessica realized that a battle was brewing, one that could either break or unite them. What would the stakes turn out to be? Jessica's heart dropped as she locked eyes with Ryan's father. The jovial atmosphere shifted into a tense battlefield, the applause silenced by his looming presence. For a split second, she saw confusion in Ryan's eyes, quickly replaced by determination. "Dad, let me explain," he started, but the man cut him off, advancing with purpose. "Explain what?" His voice thundered through the diner, drowning out the applause. "You think you can just give handouts? You think this is how a real business operates?" The patrons shifted uneasily, some glancing at Jessica as if she were the eye of the storm. She felt the weight of their gaze burning into her. This wasn't just some family drama, it was a public spectacle. "I didn't ask for this," she said, her voice firm despite her racing heart. "I was given a choice, and I chose integrity." Ryan stepped closer, his hands still clasping hers, a grounding force amid the chaos. "Leave her alone, Dad. This isn't about you," he shouted, frustration lining his features. "She's trying to do good here." "Do good? You think philanthropy comes from guilt? It's a business decision." His father spat the words like venom, anger radiating from his every movement. "This is not a charity. You're ruining everything I built." Jessica could feel a tension stretching across the room. The murmurs of the crowd morphed into a ripple of uncertainty, reflecting their fear. What was Ryan's father capable of? The man paused, letting his words sink into everyone's consciousness. Then, he turned his icy stare back to Jessica. "You want to inspire people? By rejecting my offer, you're actually hurting them even more. People like you are a dime a dozen. Who do you think you are?" she said, fierce and unapologetic. "This isn't about money. It's about respect. It's about finding a way to help people without strings attached." Ryan's father sneered, the corners of his mouth curling upward as if he were genuinely amused. "Respect? You think you can earn respect by being stubborn?" An uncomfortable silence filled the diner. Jessica sensed the mix of emotions swirling around her: fear, admiration, hope. She felt the tide turning, realized fear could either cripple or propel her. "Mr. Smith," she began, her voice steadier and stronger, "you may have wealth, but that doesn't give you the right to take away people's dignity. There are so many here in need, fighting battles I can't even imagine. And I refuse to be a part of a transaction that values things over people." Ryan looked at her, pride shining in his eyes, mingling with fear. What would happen next? As the air thickened with tension, Jessica met the gaze of everyone in the diner. They were all waiting for the next moment, a collective heartbeat syncing with her own. Before Ryan's father could respond, Ed stepped in, his voice steady and unwavering. "We're not just customers, we're a community. Fighting for each other is what matters. Jessica is right. A fundraiser could give us hope." The passion behind Ed's words ignited something in the crowd, muttering support and nodding heads. Ryan's father faltered, taken back by the unexpected unity. "You think a fundraiser will change anything? It's a temporary fix for a permanent problem." The atmosphere thickened with anticipation. What was about to unfold? With their eyes fixed on the unyielding standoff, Jessica drew a deep breath. "Then let us turn this problem into an opportunity." Everyone held their breath, waiting. Would she manage to change the narrative about power and privilege, or would it all crumble like a house of cards? It was a risk, but they were at a turning point. And Jessica knew she'd fight for every soul who needed her help. As if on cue, Ryan took a step forward, determination etched on his face. "You don't get it, Dad," he proclaimed. "It's not about money, it's about heart. And we're about to show you what that really means." The air crackled with tension and hope, ready for whatever came next. Would this be the catalyst for change, or the beginning of a deeper divide? Ryan's voice resonated in the diner, a rallying cry that pulled the community together under one banner. The energy shifted. Even the simmering anger in Ryan's father's eyes flickered for a moment as he gauged the room. The patrons, many with backgrounds far different from his own, were standing in solidarity with Jessica. "You can't silence them all," Ryan continued, his hand still holding onto Jessica's. He pulled her slightly closer, almost as if to shield her from the backlash. "These people are tired of being treated like numbers on a balance sheet. They deserve better." Ed stepped forward, meeting Ryan's unwavering resolve with a fervor of his own. "What Ryan's saying is true. We need to build something that lasts. Not just for today, but for the future of our kids if we can give them one." The murmurs grew louder, supporters echoing Ed's sentiments. Jessica could feel the pulse of hope mounting in the room. Eyes brightened, fists clenched in determination. This was more than just a lonely diner. It was a gathering place where dreams surged between cups of coffee and gambling on a lottery ticket. A hard laugh escaped Ryan's father, cutting through the hopeful atmosphere like a knife. "You think courage can change what you can't afford? What happens when the money runs dry? You'll find out soon enough. Then we won't let it run dry." Jessica shouted, her voice cracking with urgency. The people here are more than just their bank accounts. They've got ideas and resilience that can change this place forever. We can come together, it starts with us. The challenge hung in the air like thick fog. Ryan's father blinked, unsure. He surveyed the faces before him, each one marked by struggle, but also by undeniable tenacity. He had built his empire on the belief that capital was king, but what if this assembly could prove a different power altogether, the strength of community? Fine, he snapped, breaking the tension. Go ahead. Do your little fundraiser. But this isn't over. You'll see. The finality in his tone set the air ablaze with uncertainty, like an open door left ajar, barely held shut by a soft breeze. Jessica turned to Ryan, her heart racing. What did he mean by that? What is he planning? Ryan's brows knitted together. I don't know. But I won't let him intimidate us. Let us create a real plan, Jessica breathed, excitement mixed with dread. We'll get sponsors. We can reach out to businesses in the area and use social media. This can be bigger than we thought. Hope blossomed in Ryan's eyes. Yes. But we have to act fast. The crowd was buzzing now, inspired and eager to reclaim their dignity. Ideas floated from table to table, collaborations brewing among neighbors. For the first time, Jessica saw them shine, community members uniting for something they never envisioned possible. As plan solidified, Jessica and Ryan pulled away to strategize. We need a catchy theme, Jessica urged. Something that will resonate. Suddenly, a loud crash split the noise of conversations, and all heads turned toward the diner entrance. A figure stumbled in, breathless and wild-eyed, carrying a worn envelope. You have to see this. The newcomer shouted. Something shocking just happened. You won't believe who's backing our fundraiser. The diner fell silent, every heart anticipating the next revelation. Who had just stepped into their world and what were they about to unveil? The unease hung thick in the diner, every pair of eyes fixated on the newcomer. The envelope clutched in his hand seemed almost like a beacon promising hope or delivering a blow. Jessica could barely breathe, her heart racing as she stepped forward. What did you find out? She urged, impatience weaving through her words. The young man, his hair disheveled and clothes slightly askew, finally caught his breath. He held the envelope up like it contained a treasure map. I overheard something at the country club. They were talking about the fundraiser, and you won't believe who's going to back it. Ryan leaned closer, his grip on Jessica tightening. Who? Just tell us. Derek Weston. He's willing to invest, the young man announced, his voice filled with disbelief. The name sent a ripple through the crowd. Derek Weston was a billionaire. He was known for making waves through charity but was often criticized for his detached philanthropy. The collective gasp was palpable, like the air had been sucked from the room. Why would he care about us? Someone shouted from the back. The skepticism rushed forward like a tidal wave, washing away the threads of hope that had started to stitch together the community. I don't know, the young man replied, glancing around nervously. But they were excited. They think it could turn into a massive opportunity if you all play your cards right. The chatter surged again, patrons voicing doubts and excitement simultaneously. Jessica felt her stomach twist. Derek was known to help those he thought would fit his brand. Asking for his support meant exposing themselves to potential judgment and much larger risks. She caught Ryan's eye, and they shared a moment of silent understanding. Then let us meet with him, Ryan declared, stepping forward. We have to convince him that we're serious. This isn't just about money, it's about changing lives. The crowd buzzed with a sense of possibility again, voices rising in agreement, but Jessica's heart pounded with anxiety. But what if he's not as altruistic as he seems? What if we just end up as another project for him? I know, Ryan said quietly, squeezing her hand. But this could be our chance. We can show him our passion, our commitment. If we don't try, we might not get another opportunity like this. Ed cleared his throat, drawing attention again. Maybe we should put together a pitch. We can tell our stories, show him why this means so much. If we can make him see that he can't overlook us, that might change everything. The idea took root. Just like that, the diner transformed once more from a place of uncertainty to one of action. The tension shifted, fueled by a shared goal. Nearby tables began brainstorming ideas, drawing plans on napkins, shouting out potential stories to share. As everyone worked together, Jessica felt hope kindle in her chest again. Still, the nagging voice of doubt lingered. Would Derek really see the community for what it was? Or would he judge them based on assumptions? Suddenly, a shadow fell across the diner. Jessica turned to find Ryan's father standing at the entrance, eyes sharp, with a smirk that sliced through the moment. So, a billionaire wants to play with the locals? He drawled, stepping further inside. I hope you're ready for whatever game he chooses to play. Be careful what you wish for. His presence hung heavily, an ominous reminder of the stakes ahead. Ryan tensed next to Jessica, the determination in his eyes unwavering. We'll deal with him too, he whispered fiercely. But first, us. The gathering shifted its focus back to the task at hand, excitement igniting the air around them. Yet, the shadow of Ryan's father lingered in the back of Jessica's mind, a warning that echoed like a drumbeat. As they forged ahead, the stakes only seemed to rise. Jessica wondered, was the community really ready for what lay ahead? And would Derek Weston be their savior or their downfall? The envelope now in their hands felt heavier than ever, as if it carried the weight of their entire future. Would it bring hope or heartache? The answer seemed just out of reach as they gathered for their next steps. Who would emerge victorious in this unpredictable game? The diner buzzed with energy as ideas and excitement collided like waves against a rocky shore. Tables that once held plates of uneaten food now served as strategy centers filled with sketches and notes. Jessica tried to focus, but the weight of uncertainty curled around her heart. She could barely shake off the lingering presence of Ryan's father, watching from the sidelines, like a hawk ready to swoop down at any moment. Let us start by gathering stories, Ryan suggested, his voice cutting through the noise. We need to show Derek that we're not just another charity case. We're a community. As the group shouted out their ideas, voices grew louder, a symphony of hope and determination. Jessica found herself swept up in the enthusiasm, even as doubt loomed like a storm cloud above her head. Jessica. Ed called from across the room, waving her over. You've been here the longest. What's your story? Her heart flipped. Me? I don't know if it's that important. Of course it is. Ryan encouraged, stepping closer, his eyes shining with belief. Jessica took a deep breath. The pressure of their eyes felt like the scalding spotlight on a stage. My family ran a small bakery, she began, her voice trembling slightly. My mom poured her heart into every batch. And when she got sick, we couldn't keep it running anymore. Every cookie and pie is a piece of history. A legacy. As she spoke, she could see people nodding, caught in her words. They each had their own stories, a tapestry woven from loss and love, struggle and resilience. I remember gathering around the kitchen table, laughing with my family over flour-covered aprons, she continued, her voice thickening. That's what we're fighting for. To bring that dream back. Applause erupted spontaneously, filling the diner with warmth. A few faces were glistening with tears, some laughed amidst their emotional release, and Jessica felt a spark ignite in the room again. But just as quickly, the excitement dissipated, memories cast shadows across their hopeful spirits. Okay, let us keep going. We need everyone to share. Ed urged, his voice filled with encouragement, but before more stories could unfold, Ryan's father stepped forward, arms crossed, a sardonic smile creeping onto his lips. How touching. But what makes you think Derek Weston will give you a second glance beyond your sob story? A sharp breath echoed through the diner. The atmosphere chilled, as if winter's breath had swept in uninvited. Ryan clenched his fists. We can show him. We have to show him. Show him what? That you want a handout from a man who's just going to toss cash at your dreams and move on? His father's words sliced through the room like glass. This isn't a fairy tale, kid. You're dreaming if you think he'll see you as more than a charity case. Back off. Jessica felt the fire rising inside her, a protective wave for her friends and their dreams. We're not asking for a handout. We want to build something, a future where we stand on our own. Passion is all well and good, he drawled, but passion doesn't pay the bills. Better than just money. She snapped back. If he gives just for the sake of image, he won't understand us. We want him to see us. An uneasy silence settled again, but Jessica noticed some people nodding. Maybe they didn't have everything figured out, but at that moment, they were united. They had to be. The conversations picked up again, but the echo of Ryan's father's doubts still hung thick in the air. Jessica glanced at Ryan. They shared a determination that resonated deeply. She could see everything they worked for flickering in his eyes, the bakery, their community, and hope for a brighter tomorrow. Let us prove him wrong, Ryan whispered fiercely, his grip on her hand solid. The excitement surged once more, reeling them back to focus. Plans started taking shape, stories transformed into pitches, and in the frenzy, Jessica felt a renewed sense of purpose, but standing off to the side, Ryan's father watched, a storm brewing in his eyes. Just then, the door swung open, and in walked a figure silhouetted against the fading light. Had Derek Weston arrived unannounced? The weight of possibilities pressed on Jessica's chest. Would he be their ally, or yet another hurdle to jump over? The door swung wide, releasing a rush of chilled air that swept through the diner. Jessica's breath hitched as she recognized the tall figure stepping inside. It was Derek Weston, his tailored suit a stark contrast to the diner's worn, homely charm. He scanned the room, his sharp eyes landing on each face, as if evaluating every story and every hopeful whisper. Is this where the magic happens? Derek's voice, smooth and confident, broke the tension. Jessica watched as smiles broke out across the diners, like sunbeams piercing gray clouds. But her heart danced with anxiety. Would he see their passion as something worth fighting for, or was he just here as an observer, ready to let their fire fizzle out? Derek. Thanks for coming. Ryan called out, his voice steady despite the nervous flutter in his chest. We were just brainstorming how we can turn our community's dreams into reality. Oh really? Derek approached, a quizzical smile playing on his lips. I'm intrigued. Show me what you've got. Ryan glanced around the room, filled with excitement and trepidation. We're gathering stories. Stories that matter. We want to build something meaningful together. As if on cue, the diner buzzed back to life. Stories began pouring forth, each one more heartfelt than the last. Each person carried their own weight of struggle, of dreams deferred, yet the hope coursed through the air like a lifeline. Jessica felt her nerves begin to ebb as she listened to her friends. What about you, Jessica? Ed turned to her, sensing the shift in the atmosphere. Do you want to share again? All eyes turned toward her, and though the weight of their anticipation pressed against her chest, she stood taller. We're not just asking for help, Derek. We're asking for a chance to show what we can do. We want to create something enduring, not another disposable project. Derek's gaze held steady, and to her surprise, warmth broke through his businesslike demeanor. What do you want to create? He asked, genuinely curious. Jessica's pulse quickened at the spark of interest. We want to revive the bakery, a place where people can gather, share stories, and find joy in the simple things. It's not just baking, it's about rebuilding community. He nodded slowly, absorbing her words. The diners leaned in, their collective hope captured in that moment. But just as quickly, Derek's expression shifted, uncertainty creeping back into his eyes. "That sounds wonderful, but let me stop you right there." Ryan stepped in, determined. "We know there are risks. But we're serious. This community is ready to fight for its future. We just need someone to believe in us and in our stories." Derek paused, the shadows of doubt crossing his face. "You think that just passion will convince investors? You'll need a solid plan, something that can't just survive, but thrive." Jessica's heart sank for a moment, but then she thought about all the hours with her friends, outlining their plans, brainstorming ideas. "We have a plan. We'll make it work," she asserted, her voice a steady anchor amidst the uncertainty. Derek looked from her to Ryan, the doubt still clinging to him. "It's not that simple. You think I'm here for a sob story?" Suddenly, a noise jolted the conversation. Ryan's father burst through the diner door, anger simmering in his demeanor. "You're wasting your time, Derek. These people are just looking for a handout." He strode forward, confronting Derek head-on. "You can't afford to lose your reputation on a whim. They don't realize how the world works." The tension thickened, and silence descended. Jessica felt hot shame rising, the sting of judgment clear. But she also felt something else, an inner fire igniting again. With a deep breath, she stepped forward. "This isn't a handout. It's an opportunity to connect. An opportunity to prove that when people come together, they can create something beautiful." Derek seemed to sway between the weight of her words and Ryan's father's cynicism. Jessica could sense it, a crack forming in the armor of skepticism both men wore. In that charged moment, a thought bloomed: maybe they could be the ones to make Derek see them as more than just a charity case. But would they have enough time? Before she could lose her nerve, she locked eyes with Derek, grounding herself. "And what if I told you we can show you our plan in action?" His gaze flickered, and a flicker of interest sparked in his eyes. "What do you mean?" But before Jessica could respond, the sound of a car engine revving outside pulled their attention away, followed by the unmistakable roar of a luxury vehicle pulling up right in front of the diner. Who could it be? And how would this new arrival change everything? The sleek black car came to a smooth stop, its polished surface gleaming in the diner's fluorescent light. The moment felt surreal, an electric charge zipping through the air as the engine quieted. Heads turned in unison. In a diner filled with familiar faces, this was a stranger that screamed of high society. Jessica's heart raced. Was this a sign? Or a distraction? Derek glanced toward the window, his professional curiosity piqued. "I'm not sure who that is," he muttered, almost to himself, his confidence now tinged with bewilderment. The door flung open again, and a woman stepped out, dressed in an elegant dress that would fit perfectly in any gala. She wore oversized sunglasses and carried herself with an air of authority. Behind her, two men in dark suits emerged, scanning the lot like security personnel ready to combat any trouble that might arise. Jessica felt a rush of apprehension wash over her. This wasn't just another patron. "Who the hell is she?" Ed whispered, leaning in closer to Jessica, his eyes wide with intrigue. The chatter around them grew hushed as if a spell had been cast over the diner. Derek's gaze sharpened, and he squinted in the dim light trying to figure out the connection. The woman walked with purpose, heading straight for Derek, a commanding presence that turned the casual atmosphere into something almost reverent. "Derek!" she called out, her voice striking a balance between professional and companionable. "It's so good to see you here. I was hoping to catch you before you left town." Now Jessica's pulse quickened again. Who was she, and what did she want with Derek? "Jessica," Ryan said, his voice low and tense, "this is getting out of control. What if she sways him? What if she's the investor he's been waiting for?" Derek kept his composure, but his brows furrowed. "Megan? What are you doing here?" He stepped away from the group, and Jessica felt a swirl of desperation creep in. This was it, their moment seemed to be in jeopardy. She shot a look at Ryan, who shared her concern. "We can't let them derail this," he said, determination hardening his features. The diner was filled with hopeful hearts, and the stakes had never been higher. Megan turned her full attention toward Jessica, a slight smirk gracing her lips that made Jessica's stomach churn. "And who might you be?" she asked, her tone icy yet interested. "This is Jessica," Derek replied tersely, his demeanor shifting to shield his focus. "She's the one spearheading the community project we discussed." Megan's eyebrows lifted, and she folded her arms, surveying Jessica like a judge anticipating a verdict. "Community project, huh? Ambitious." Jessica swallowed hard, the weight of Megan's gaze pressing into her. She couldn't let them undermine her vision. "It's about more than ambition," she asserted, finding courage despite the icy demeanor in front of her. "We have plans to create a space for connection, for our community to thrive, not just survive." Derek's eyes twinkled momentarily, as if Jessica's words struck a chord. But Megan's interruption loomed heavily. "Derek, sweetheart, we don't need to waste time on whimsical projects. You've got bigger fish to fry." "No," he interjected, surprising even himself. "I'm interested in what Jessica is trying to do, and I want to hear them out." Megan stood there, jaw clenched, surprised but unyielding. The tension crackled in the air, and Jessica felt her determination grow. This moment was not just theirs but for everyone invested in a dream. Just as Ryan's father scoffed in the back, Megan turned to Jessica. "Fine, let us say you're right. Prove it. Show Derek what you have in mind. You've got one chance. No promises." It was a daunting ultimatum, but Jessica felt the ground shift beneath her. This was what they needed: a spotlight, an opportunity to shine. The diners held their breath, eyes wide, hearts pumping with hope. "Okay," Jessica said firmly, heart pounding. "We'll show you. We'll show you all." But just as the words fell from her lips, the sound of laughter erupted outside, bright and careless, drowning out their determination. They all turned as a group of young people, bundled in coats and laughter, strolled right by the diner, dragging with them the glow of youthful exuberance. What would they think if they knew the stakes? What if they could help? Jessica felt flame reignite in her chest. They had only minutes to capture this moment. "Let us go," she exclaimed, her voice a rallying cry. "We'll take it from here." Everyone turned, excitement bright in their eyes, but Megan sneered, arms crossed. "I can't wait to see what you dream up," she said, dismissing them with a wave. "But don't say I didn't warn you." Undaunted, Jessica faced Derek, determination welling up. "We won. Just dream. We'll show you what it means to hope." Derek's interest glimmered, but the heaviness of Megan's presence weighed down like an anchor. Jessica took a deep breath, ready to step out to face the unknown and change everything. As they moved toward the door, a faint shout echoed behind them. "Wait! What if you're not ready for what's coming?" The urgency hit. Just who were they about to confront, and what twists awaited them as they stepped into the fray? The bell above the diner's door jingled as Jessica and her team stepped into the cool night air. The thrill mixed with a sense of urgency fueled her. She could almost taste the possibilities swirling around them. The laughter from the group outside echoed like a siren calling her forth, urging her to embrace the moment. "Okay, here's the plan," Jessica began, taking a step back to face her small crew. Derek stood at her side, uncertainty lingering in his eyes, but it was underlined with intrigue. Ryan and Ed flanked her, their expressions a mixture of hope and anxiety. "We need to make our project personal," Jessica stated, her voice steady despite the noise around them. "Let us engage with those kids. They should see the vision we have and feel it." She gestured towards the young people nearby, their laughter a stark contrast to the tension they had just escaped. "What do you mean?" Ryan asked, his brow furrowing. You think we can just walk over and pitch our plan? Yes. She replied, brimming with enthusiasm. Imagine if we showed them what community building can be. Inviting them in, letting them share their thoughts. Derek interrupted, and his tone shifted. You mean, really get them involved? That's different. Exactly, Jessica smiled, feeling the gears in her head shift. We need to create a chain reaction. If these kids connect with our idea, they'll spread it. It can be like wildfire. Ed nodded, catching the spark of excitement. And they'll bring adults along, too. This could help us build a community around the project. But just as optimism swelled among them, Megan's voice pierced the air. I hope you're not counting on those kids to save your little community project, she taunted, striding up confidently. You think they'll care about what you're doing? Jessica stood her ground, the weight of determination heavy within her. They might care more than you think, Megan, Jessica replied, channeling a mix of fearlessness and fiery defiance. Megan's icy demeanor cracked slightly. You're banking on hope. That's cute. Hope is where all great ideas begin, Jessica shot back, her heart racing with passion. She took a deep breath, feeling adrenaline spike. We're not giving up. Then what's your first move? Megan asked, crossing her arms, an interested arrogance softening her expression. Firing up the excitement again, Jessica turned to her team. Let's ask them to help us brainstorm. We can gather ideas, suggestions. We'll meet them on common ground and show them it's their space too. Ryan's face brightened, holding back a grin. Okay. Let's do it. With one last look at Megan, who watched with unyielding curiosity, Jessica took off towards the group, her heart thudding in anticipation. Hey! She called out, her voice louder now, melting away the remaining self-doubt. The laughter faded as the young people turned to her, curious eyes trained on them. We're just starting a community initiative, and we want to hear from you. Surprise rippled through their little crowd, and Jessica's courage surged. She took a step forward, grounding herself in the moment. What kind of space do you think the community needs? As she watched their faces light up with ideas, something shifted inside her. She felt the warm embrace of shared vision, the pure essence of community igniting in their midst. But suddenly, a shout erupted from the nearby road, drawing her attention away. A sleek, luxury car pulled up, the familiar logo emblazoned on the hood gleaming under the streetlight. Jessica's breath caught in her throat as the door swung open, revealing a figure that made her heart sink, a face she recognized all too well, one she thought she'd encounter later down the line, and certainly not here. Is that? Ed started, voice trembling. Jessica felt the weight of heavy anticipation settling in her stomach. Beyond the gleaming car, the corner of her vision honed in on Megan's straightening posture, as her eyes glinted with an unsettling mix of satisfaction and amusement. What was coming next would be a test of everything they had fought for in that diner just moments ago. Everyone, brace yourselves, Jessica whispered to her team. I don't think we know what's about to unfold. As the door swung wider, revealing Derek's influential colleague, Jessica felt a chill race down her spine. The tension clung heavily in the air like a dramatic pause. The newcomer stepped forward, exuding confidence and power, the kind that often made little voices whisper in the back of your head about inferiority. Who was this person, and what storm were they about to bring into their fragile moment of hope? Megan. I didn't expect to find you here, the woman exclaimed, her smile radiant yet loaded. Jessica's heart raced as she glanced at Ryan, trying to gauge their next move. It felt like a chess game where the pieces were shifting unpredictably. Not the place I'd expect you to be either, Ruth, Megan shot back, her voice laced with sarcasm. But I guess we all have our charity projects. Eyes darted between the two. Ruth scanned the diner, taking in the buzzing individuals, hoping to weave their dreams together. Jessica braced herself, determined to not fall back, to stand firm in the face of doubt. Jessica, was it? Ruth's voice turned sweet as she turned to her. I hear you want to make a community space with your friends. Sounds like a lovely idea. But, she continued, tilting her head slightly, it might need more than just lovely ideas to convince someone like Derek to invest in it. Her eyes flicked to Derek, who stood beside Jessica, trying to mask the futility drifting through his gaze. It felt like the ground was shifting, yet Jessica refused to allow fear to unravel what had begun to bloom amidst her friends. Actually, we're here to prove that it's about more than money, it's about connection, Jessica replied, her heart pounding as she pulled the courage from the depths of her being. We're crafting a plan driven by stories and purpose, wanting to build something impactful together. A flicker of excitement reverberated in the crowd, but Ruth's laughter pierced through. Stories? How charming. But must I remind you that dreams without substance are simply dreams? The room sighed collectively, a shadow creeping over the warmth that had begun to resurface. Jessica felt the heat rise within her chest, nudging her forward. Dreams become reality when we work together, she declared, her voice steady and unwavering. Hope can lead to real change, but we need a chance to show it. Murmurs of agreement rippled through the diner, each sound like a pulse, reminding Jessica that they were not alone. I admire your enthusiasm, Ruth said, her tone a mix of sugar and salt, but how will you convince someone of Derek's stature that you're more than just a good story? By being more than just a story. Ryan interjected, stepping beside Jessica, his eyes flashing with determination. We can show him our plan in action, because we believe in it, and so does our community. His voice rang out a rallying cry that seemed to resonate through every corner of the diner. Jessica felt warmth rush through her. Their energy took control, and with that determination, she stepped forward again. Derek, she prompted, her intensity radiating as she looked straight into his eyes. Let us demonstrate our potential. If you believe in our stories, come meet us at the bakery. We'll show you how we can bring this vision to life, together. A murmur of hope rippled through the crowd as Derek considered it, but Jessica could see the weight of uncertainty tugging at him. You have one shot, he said firmly, looking directly at Jessica. Then let us make it count. She responded, the urgency within her boiling over. Megan stepped forward, her expression now shifting from mockery to intrigue. Fine. I'll be joining you. Let us see what this charming little community can actually do. The challenge hung between them, vibrating with potential, stirring excitement in the AIR.as. Jessica shook off the looming darkness of defeat, exhilaration flooded her. Together, they would meet the challenge head-on. Let us get to work. She exclaimed, turning back to her team, gripping Ryan's hand. In that moment, they came together like matched puzzle pieces, ready to carve their destiny. Remember. Jessica, Ed preached from the corner, this is bigger than any one of us. In their hearts, they understood that more than just a project or pitch was at stake, it was the essence of their community, the love they'd sown into every corner of the diner that made them family. As the night pulled on, the buzz of determination wrapped around them like a blanket. They shared laughter, passion, and unchecked dreams buzzing in the air around them, intertwining their spirits as they mapped out their plans. Jessica felt hope blossom. They would fight together, no matter the challenges. She knew it wasn't enough to just have dreams, they needed each other, a unified spirit, ready to stand tall against skepticism. And as they moved forward into that night, every pulse of the diner echoed their mantra, together, we are unstoppable. The diner glowed, promises shining brighter than city lights through the darkness of what lay ahead. Those challenges they wouldn't define them. Their hearts would. You need to subscribe now to witness every step of this incredible journey. This is the moment to show your support. Hit that like button now to fuel this story's fire in the algorithm. Comment below your thoughts and feelings about this transformation, and share this video instantly with at least 5 friends who need to see this amazing journey unfold. Let us inspire together. Don't wait not even one more second to share.